Good morning, TikTok. You are here live with YouTube, and it is a beautiful day here in the sunny South. It's supposed to be in the high 90s today, yet I'm in sweatpants because a bunch of mosquitoes looked me in the eyes and told me they were going to kill me. So here I am. It's a beautiful day, beautiful Monday. Just had a nice weekend, and now it is time to talk about homeschooling, homesteading, and giving our children an education in context where they understand the things they are learning about are important because the information they are learning are pertinent to what they're doing at the moment. And that is the power of project-based learning. That is the power of unschooling. And all of us have the ability to give our children an education that we as kids would only have dreamed of. And I hope I can help you along that journey. By the way, let me know if you have any questions. I might not answer them right away, but I do go back through the comments and I answer everyone's question as long as it's related to homeschool. I might have an answer, I might not. We'll see. I don't know everything. And if it's not related to homeschool, I might answer, I might not. We'll see, depending on what I want to talk about. So, we've been doing a year-long nature unit study, and the video I posted on Cubs to Bears TikTok channel today is all about that study. And so far this year, the children have been doing so many great activities where they've researched their planting zones, ordered their own seeds, they've built mini greenhouses inside, started their little seedlings in their mini greenhouses, germinated their seedlings, and prepared them to move them outside to the garden. How did they pick the best spot to garden? Well, they drew maps of their property. Then they spent a day literally tracking the sun's location in the sky, which is one of my favorite activities. They used a compass to figure out north, east, south, and west. And then what they did is, if the sun was in the south at 12 p.m., they would go onto their map and put the sun in the south at 12 p.m. And they used that to ascertain the best garden location. Everything they do is rooted in critical thinking, in problem solving, in exercising their discernment, and giving the children the confidence to say, what do you think? How should we go about achieving this objective? Okay, let's do it. And you could guide them and they could succeed, or if they fail, they didn't fail, because what you're really teaching them is that failure only takes place when you fail to learn. So if you try something, it doesn't work, we recalibrate and do something else. A homestead, a farm, or just in your backyard is the best place to educate a child, and every single one of you can do it. So with our nature unit study, we had them choose the best garden location. And then from there, what we did is we actually had them construct their own garden boxes. And this is so important. And it's such an important concept to understand. I tell parents all the time, skills over subject matter, not that subjects don't matter. Subjects do matter. We want our children to learn English and science. Hey, Feral Patriot. English and science and history, good history, right? And real science, not the nonsense they teach in public schools. But we teach our children all those things. But if I had to choose between those things and skills, which you don't, right? You can teach them both. But if I had to choose, I would rather my children know carpentry and woodworking and engineering and computer coding and art and music, because it only takes one skill to free a man. And we saw over the last 2 years, how many people have you heard of, or did you know personally, that maybe they did something they weren't comfortable with at their job because they felt that if they didn't, they would lose their job and they wouldn't be able to pay their bills? It's because people feel like they don't have skills. Well, we give our children skills. We give our children critical thinking faculties. And then the third aspect of what we do, a worthy education, is you make sure your child has entrepreneurial experience once every school semester. So every 6 months, from the time they're 5 years old all the way up until they're 18, and they will develop a mindset of abundance. They will have the skills to back up that mindset and the critical thinking faculties to figure out, what do I need to learn to do what I want to do in this world? And when you give your children that education, it is an education worthy of freedom. An education which will leave your 18-year-old not dependent on the government, not dependent on corporations, not even dependent on you yourself. And that should be the objective of our children's education. So we have our children construct their garden boxes, and we don't stop there. We actually, so far this year, our students have constructed their own ladybug feeders. They have constructed their own bees baths, and they've learned all about soil biology, good garden bugs, bad garden bugs, and how to attract them. And while we're doing this, we're giving them options, which they could kind of branch off of our unit study and do some unschooling, where we're showing them how to sell their ladybug feeders on Etsy. We are showing them how to, last week was all about how to start a summer business growing flowers. And, basically if your child, instead of getting a summer job, wants to start a summer business, the unit study shows them how to do that. And they grow their flowers, they write up a business plan, they figure out where they're going to sell them. Is that at the front yard? Is that at a farmer's market? Is that door to door? Is that to a local garden center at wholesale? Right? So your children, they're growing these flowers, making a business plan, and at the end of the summer, they execute that business plan. It teaches them all the skills of a summer job, but you're teaching them an entrepreneurial mindset, and you're showing them that it is a world of abundance out there, and not to limit, in their minds what they're capable of. So this is what we've been doing. And then this week, our newest variation is the children will actually be making fertilizer. I'm going to answer your questions, by the way. I go back and answer every question, but they will be making fertilizer for their garden out of eggshells. So they take the eggshells, they boil them, then they put them in the oven for 30 minutes at 250, take them out, grind them into a powder, take that powder, put it on your plants, and they made an at-home fertilizer. All right, let's go back and answer some questions. Home with the plague. Glad I can watch, though. Yeah, man, happy to have you here. Chief Slapho. Is your curriculum available online? Yeah, www.classicallearner.com. If you go to Homeschools Connected when you get there, just follow the links, use the discount code FREEDOM, and it's $10 a month, and I don't lock you in for a year, so it's quite valuable, which is cool. Educate your own children. Stop teaching them useless and corrupt knowledge. Yeah, well, that's what they learn in public school. We need to teach our babies how to think, not what to think. Right, and I talk about this a lot, but you want to give your children, quote unquote, not literally, but you want to give your children, oh, you a nasty looking guy, aren't you? All right. You a nasty looking boy. Hold on. All right, he moved. There was a wasp of some type, and I'm pretty sure it wants to kill me. So, where was I? I got distracted by the wasp. Yes, we need to teach our babies. Yeah, you want to give your children a master's degree in the process of learning and critical thinking, not memorization. Where in public school, it's like when they study history, it's Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. Can you repeat that? Now you know history. Now, that could be true. It could not be true. One, fine. But either way, you don't know history, even if it's true, right? Because there's no context. There's no perspective. And the real way to study history, especially as children start to get older, is as they study topics. And they could do like textbook work. That's fine. But as they study topics, they then have to venture off and do reading on those topics. So like if they're studying Columbus, they should be reading the primary writings of the people that were there, Columbus himself, the people that were with Columbus, and they should be reading the primary writings of the indigenous people. And if they read the primary writings of people on both sides, and then they could get a background from textbooks and stuff, that's fine. Right? I mean, choose carefully, but then they're exercising their critical thinking and they're formulating their own unique understanding of what has happened throughout history, right? It's critical thinking. They're learning critical thinking through the study of history. I mean, the same goes for science. They should be doing hands-on science experiments. They should be doing engineering. They should be building things with their hands. They should be actively engaging, having a relationship with the scientific method. And if your children are doing these things, well, you're teaching them not only the science, not only the history, but the critical thinking. And to me, that's really what I want my child to learn. You know, the truth of the matter is, I don't care about the Department of Education. You know, sure, I'll expose my child to the materials or the subject matter that the Department of Education wants for the lone purpose of they're going to take state tests, and I want my children to do well on those. You know, minus stuff that I think is immoral. I don't care if they do worse on the test, right? I'm not going to show them immoral nonsense. That's fine. But ultimately, I don't care about the Department of Education and what they want my children to learn. I want my children to be free thinkers. I want them to have open minds. I want them to know how creative they are and embrace their creativity. I want them to be able to take on problems, think critically, and overcome problems. And to me, that they could study volcanoes, they could study whatever you want. What are you interested in? Let's go study that, and we'll learn the process of critical thinking, and over time, that will win out, right? Like, people, they have these children memorize this and that and that and that and that. Yeah, and that's nice. And then if you ask them about it 2 years later, they don't know any of it because they don't really learn it. They were just memorizing stuff for tests. It's nonsense. It's nonsense what happens in the public school system. Nonsense. So we give our children a better education. You know, we let them follow their interest, and that wins out in the long run. And you do that with your children. You prioritize as they follow their interest, teaching them skills, construction, engineering, photography, videography, music, whatever it might be. And you get them a lot of entrepreneurial experience. You know, it doesn't have to be crazy. Like when they're children, you start with lemonade stands or painting eggshells and selling their eggshells, or, you know, having a car wash day for the neighbors, right? Washing the neighbors' cars. Doesn't really matter. You know, it's just developing that mindset. And then as they get older, you can start to show them complexities within what they can do, right? You know, first you do mindset. This is how we live. You know, entrepreneurship is part of your education. And listen, you could grow up and be an employee. I don't care. It's fine. Do what you want to do, man. It's your life. But I'm going to make sure in your education you have the know-how. See, public school, they only teach children how to be corporate paper pushers and employees, and then they don't know how to start businesses. Otherwise, more people would. And it's a real travesty. So we teach our children how to be entrepreneurial, how to develop a mindset. We give them experience. So when they come across problems, they're like, oh, I remember when I dealt with this problem when I was 8 years old, you know? I've been doing this my whole life. I could overcome this problem. And if you do that, they get a much more well-rounded education. And then as they get older, they could decide what they want to do. And listen, there's nothing wrong with being an employee. I mean, there's employees that do very well for themselves. There's, you know, you could work for the town, right? And you can live a great life working for the town. I mean, now with the whole medical coercion, that might not be an option anymore, but you guys get the point. Right? And even being an employee, like there's employees that make a ton of money, right? Like there's employees, CEOs are employees, right? Their CEOs are employed by the shareholders, and the shareholders are, you know, we're not, yes, it's me and you, but usually it's like, you know, Warren Buffett. They're employed by Warren Buffett, right? And the CEO works for that shareholder. So there's levels of what you can do with everything, but ultimately you want to give your children the experience, the mindset, and the skills, along with the critical thinking faculties, to be the person that they ultimately decide they want to be. Otherwise, they want to be a person, but they don't know how to become that. They don't know how to do that. And that's a travesty. Sorry, it jumped. Another CIA bug. Yeah, this might be an FBI bug. You know, they're sending these bugs after me to assassinate me. Like, he's speaking too much truth. Send the bugs. Nah, this guy's cool. He's in the Bumblebee type of line. He's just a little more waspy and a little more wants to kill me. But I like the bees a lot, so if anything, I just fear him because I don't understand him. Good morning from sunny Michigan. Heading back to Ohio today. Foster Bear, are you going to be at Crush Fest? I booked my tickets, so I'll be there. I'm booked. Good to go. Tuttle Twins just sent out their email pre-order history book. Yeah, Tuttle Twins is crushing. They got the television show going. Right? If you go on YouTube and type in Tuttle Twins, they have a whole cartoon for kids. They have their book series, which is kind of like mine, but a little bit different. And they have a curriculum like I do. I mean, Tuttle Twins absolutely crushes. They're doing a lot of positive things in the world. Now they're doing a textbook. I should reach out to Connor one day. I respect Connor because I suspect he's a lot like me. So I'd probably get along with Connor. But I'd love to pick his brain about how he goes about things and why he makes some of the decisions he makes. And because I could learn a lot from Connor. He's I've never seen him do an interview or anything. I've never met him, but I'd love to because he's walked a very similar path to me. I could tell from his work, right? The Bible says, know them by their fruit, right? Well, I know him by his fruit, right? Like anyone wants to know me, you know me by my fruit, right? You know me by my children. You know me by my books. You know me by my curriculum. What I do, it's my fruit. Connor's awesome. I helped him with a Utah law. I spoke to legislation for him. Oh, that's incredible. What a small world. See, that's the type of synchronicity where, that's why I always say God God puts people together when they're supposed to be. Like, what are the chances that I'm doing this stream, I start talking about Tuttle Twins, and then, and Connor and someone in our chat, helped Connor with a law. That's isn't that crazy? By the way, just a lesson in humans interacting with each other and whatnot too. I'm not a libertarian. I don't buy into libertarian ideology, but I respect Connor, and I have my children read Tuttle Twins, because I know what he's doing comes from a place of that is good. It's right. He believes in it. It's not grabbled. It's if someone's telling me the truth, I'll hear them out, right? The system lies, right? Connor's a truth speaker. Connor believes in libertarian ideals, and I have no problem with my children learning libertarian ideals. They'll learn all types of ideals, and that's good. He saw my comment on one of his posts, and he contacted me, and this was 2 years ago. I helped him change a Utah cosmetology law. That is awesome. Wow, that is based. That's pretty cool. Maybe I'll reach out to Connor. It's an awesome program with a better community. Thank you, Feral Patriot. And part of the reason it's a great community is you yourself. So we do have an amazing community of homeschool mothers and fathers. We have a running community chat where people just 24 hours a day are just talking about homeschooling or life or conspiracies. Well, a lot of people like to go down the rabbit holes and whatnot. I try to stay out of that, but, I like a good rabbit hole as much as anyone else. How do you do homeschooling? You follow the interest of your children, get a curriculum that serves as a guideline. You don't have to follow it to the letter. I wouldn't worry about accredited or anything like that. Like, that's not, I don't want accredited curriculums. I don't want Department of Education approved curriculums, but you do want curriculums that cover subject matter because, you're like, oh, I didn't realize I should cover that. So you get some base curriculums, you cover, the same type of subject matter that is generally covered in school, but you don't have to do it as droney and boring and memorization-y as school. Like, you could do it at your child's pace and in a way that's more fun. Like, they could watch videos, they could read when they want to read, listen to audiobooks, you could go to science museums, watch documentaries, do a lot of hands-on learning. Homeschooling's the best. You have such flexibility. Yeah, teach them honor, selflessness, dignity, respect. Absolutely. Ground your children in morality. If you ground them in morality, they'll be just fine. Our in-ground garden isn't always growing, so we are switching to containers and cover soil amendment. Yeah, I'm the opposite. I've been in containers, and I just cleared some land, and we're going to plant some in the ground now. The only thing that upsets me about the containers is I know plastic leaks out of them and into my plants, and they're so expensive that, I basically use laundry baskets, right? Instead of official gardening baskets, because it's when you get into the territory of $40, $50 a basket, it's debilitating. So, everything's relative. For some people, they would sneeze at that, right? It wouldn't even matter. But for me, that's a lot. So, I'm taking on a lot right now. We got the homestead. We're building the house. So I gotta be very responsible, and so you do what you can. One of the things Nicole and I are actually getting more into is going to garage sales. We went to a garage sale. You ready for this? We went to a sale this weekend, and I picked up a school desk for Brady, a vintage, probably made, I don't know exactly, but probably a vintage 1950 wooden school desk. It is so well crafted and beautiful, and Brady's really excited about it. So I got Brady his first school desk, which is super cool. And you ready for this? I picked up the 1985, the complete 32 volume set of the 1985 Encyclopedia Britannica, in great condition, and it was a great deal. So I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna flip it on eBay. If it was earlier year, if it was 1950s or something, I'd probably keep it. But 1985, that's fine. But I got the entire 32 volume set. I'm gonna flip it on eBay because I went to the garage sale. I picked up a few things that'll be helpful to the family, and I'll wind up actually making now probably about $200 from going to that yard sale. And I got the stuff. And by the way, my son and my children, they see all this stuff, right? So, everything we do, they see us do business. They see us, you want them to participate in every aspect of life. And develop that entrepreneurial mindset, and you could teach them some really great things. Mine's in a planter box I built myself, and it's thriving. Been covering it from the rain. That's awesome. Yeah, one of the things we've had the children doing is constructing their own garden boxes or planter boxes. And it's a great assignment for the kids. We have a new yard that's never been planted. Hopefully raised beds. Do you do like chicken poop or cow manure? And look up guilds, because you want, like, one of the things I want to get into, I'm not there yet, is putting the right combinations of plants together so that as some of the plants deplete the soil, other plants restore the nutrient balance in the soil, and then your soil stays healthy and vibrant, and that's ultimately how you do long-term effective gardening. I'm going back and forth about homeschooling my son. Oldest will be in kindergarten. Best advice: practice over the summer, right? You have a free summer to test out if you want to homeschool. ABC Jesus Loves Me, the Easy Peasy All-in-One Homeschool are free curriculums. My curriculum, which is great for the summer, is $10 a month, and it's a year-long nature unit study, so you could guide your children to do all this stuff in nature. Do unschooling, do like project-based learning where you do cooking activities and you incorporate math into them. If you type in math through cooking, all types of Pinterest stuff will come up. Like, there's so much you can do. I have my garden 25 feet off the ground. That's like tree height. The public education system was designed to create a nation of workers, not thinkers. Ain't that the truth? I have no green thumb. I don't believe that. I see a thumb that has been getting greener, right? It's right. Everything is just a learning experience. And 4 years ago, I did my first garden, 10 by 10 garden, and like everything just died. It was terrible. And now 4 years later, I have plum trees and peach trees and avocado trees and mango trees, and my eggplants are crushing and my tomatoes are crushing, and you live, you learn, and you get better at things, and you do that, and we can pray for your plants. I will do that as well. Get out of here, mosquito. Get out of here. Yeah, a school desk I got for Brady and Aubrey, like a 1950s vintage wooden school desk. It's really awesome. I don't know the year, I'm just guessing, but it's old and it's awesome. And so I got that, and yeah, the 1985 Encyclopedia Britannica complete 32 volume set at a sale, garage sale. It was a garage sale at a church. So I'm guessing someone passed away and donated their stuff to the church to raise money for their church. But yeah, it was a really good experience, and it was we were really excited about it. But garage sales are also like, they're the best place to get tools. Like if you need tools for homesteading or gardening, like you can just get tools that are used at a much cheaper price, and it's If you do it right, there's a lot of benefits to it. Homeschooling's the best. Yeah, learning is much more than paper and pencil. In fact, most learning should be hands-on, just doing stuff. Like, how many hours a day do you need your head in a book? Like, it's just absurd what happens in school. Like, we could literally read. If you read to your child or had your child read on their own for an hour every day before bed, that's probably enough reading. They could learn in other ways for everything else. Like, education shouldn't be painful. Third floor apartment, nice. Yeah, failure's how you become better. I started writing another book, and this book is going to be on a colony of bumblebees, and stuff starts to go wrong for them. But the main character in the book, the book starts with our main character having a massive failure. Like, he's supposed to be on watch, protecting the beehive, and he gets distracted by a flower, and he smells the sweet nectar and sees the bright, vibrant colors, and he just starts flying and drifting to the flower, and then he's having nectar, and another bee yells his name, and his head snaps up, and like there's a bear attacking the hive trying to get the honey, and so he has this massive failure, and then the whole book from there is all about, but what matters is what we do next, right? And him taking personal responsibility and ultimately righting that wrong through the actions he took after, through taking responsibility and focusing on doing the next thing correctly. And yeah, that's the lesson in the book I'm writing, and I'm really excited about it. I read what I have so far to Brady, and Brady asked me to keep writing, which was really exciting for me. Super cool, because Brady's at an age now where like I see the types of stories he likes, and I could write stories with Brady in mind, and it's a really cool thing that I get to do. Yeah, and this is a different style of book I'm writing. Like, this isn't Cubs to Bears. It's on its own. I might make it into its own trilogy. It's about a colony of bees, and it's more in just story form. Like, I dropped the rhyming and everything, and it's just I'm telling a story, and it's really cool because the style gives me a lot of flexibility in terms of what I can do and the concepts I can introduce. Mosquito stalking me. Keep playing that game, mosquito. You're gonna lose. All right. I just want to say, even though I don't have kids, I really appreciate what you're doing. Thank you. I really appreciate your support. And, it's without support from people, like, I couldn't do this. So this is, it's been a real blessing in my life. And it was a dream I had a few years ago. And I just started it as a side thing I did. And I put a lot of hard work in, and one thing led to another. And I got to the point where I was able to do this full time, and I absolutely love it. And this is only the beginning. This is, we build from the grassroots level. I've had people contact me about funding, and I've turned that away. And in 10 years, like, it's already great, but in 10 years, we're going to make it something where it's a really positive impact in the world. So it looks like Nicole and the kids just got home, so I'm going to call it a stream. They just walked in the backyard. They were out of the house, so I'm going to call it a stream, and we'll be back tomorrow. But www.classicallearner.com, Homeschools Connected, if you're interested in joining us. It is great for the summer, by the way, and it's use the discount code FREEDOM. It's $10 a month, and yeah, it's great value, and we'd love to have you. So Homeschools Connected. Check that out. I'm Classical Learner on everything. Oh, Freedom's all lowercase. I'm Classical Learner on everything. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. Freedom isn't free. We have to earn it every day. And I will be back tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time to earn that freedom. All right, guys.